Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This one is going to be about carving some spoons, because what are you going to eat your butter with if you don't have utensils? So I was thinking, obviously I live in London, and I was just wondering, like, how am I supposed to go get some wood to do some carving? I don't want to go to a shop and go buy some wood to carve it. And I feel like I'm not allowed to go and cut branches off of trees here in London. But literally went for a walk this morning and look what I found. A nice broken branch. Obviously come from, I don't think that big one, I think the smaller one right at the tippy top about there. So I've got my saw and we are going to give it a cut. Yeah, he's literally just fallen the last day or so. Like, the world works in mysterious ways, because I literally wanted to do this for the last like couple of days and I don't know where to get wood. As I go for a walk, like just down the road from my house, there it is. So let's get sorted. So I've managed to find myself a little saw just around the house, and we're going to just cut a piece probably about this big. Actually no, I'll probably double it because I'm going to need a batten later. I'll wait for that noise to stop. But yeah, gonna do a wooden spoon, you know, standard kitchen one that you'll buy. Let's get into it. Big boy. All right, we have secured our log. Pretty good stick. Let's get it back home. Quite crazy how the world works, huh? If you need something, it'll always be there. Boom. Hopefully, this works out. So I'm gonna call it the perfect log, just in the hopes that it actually does work and it is a good piece of wood for the end of the video, but we'll see. I did just find it on the floor. Okay, so we have secured our log. Not looking too shabby. Bit big, but we can cut it down to size. Let's hopefully it makes a good spoon, but look at this. I noticed it last night on my way back from work, so hasn't been on there too long. Still nice and moist, but not damp or rotting. Wood's kind of hard, which hopefully will be quite durable and last long, but again, we'll see how we get on. Should I send it to Stick Nation? See what they think? Maybe once I'm done, I'll send it to Stick Nation. Oh, all right, this is taking time. I've literally just been cutting up the log to get it ready for just the size I want for my spoon, and it's taking me a good half an hour to cut this bloody thing. All right, we have got our log. I've cut it down to size. That took a lot more effort than I thought it was going to, but I think it's a good length for a spoon. The next step is, apparently we should split it in half, because all the rings showing the tree's age come from about somewhere up here. And it says we want to split this down the middle because the center bit is called the pith. And the pith tends to like shrink and expand and crack if you use that for the length of your spoon. So we want to try and avoid it breaking, but I have no freaking clue how I'm going to cut this thing in half. I don't have an axe, and it says I should axe it rather than saw it. Okay, so a couple of the tools that we're going to be using for our video. This little wood carving set. Got a little curved knife, got a sharp knife with a pointed edge. Looks like a little pocket knife thing. And some scoopers and scrapers. I'm gonna give it a try with this little guy to get all the bark off. Apparently he's quite sharp, so let's see how that works. Quite sharp, look at that. Nice. Oh, okay, that looks good. And if I stab it, oh, okay, so it is quite soft. Lovely. Hopefully that'll be good for the shaving and the trimming process. I don't want to dampen the blade of this for when I'm carving, so I'm just using a little kitchen knife. It's working pretty well, so I'm happy. Nice. A little bit of, I think, some rough scraping, just to get that little bit off. Don't know how well you can. Probably wasn't the brightest idea, because I just got to go. Nice. What a lovely log. Okay, so splitting it. I don't know what we're gonna do here. No axe, only saw. Told me I probably shouldn't saw. I think it might be our only option. If you're living by yourself, you're gonna have to come up with solutions. So, I've got an idea. Let's hope this works. Okay, so tea towel against here. This here, with some cable ties strapped around to hold it in place. And then if I can be here, so this is tight, I can just saw all the way down, moving the cable ties when I need to. And if I was in the wild, I would just use some rope in a tree. If I don't have a vise. Let's see how that works. Okay, our setup is complete. This is going to take forever, and the top of this is going to stop it when it reaches about there. So I'm probably going to have to do one side, and then either try and cut horizontally or wedge some chisels in there and just... This is taking... one of those wood chopping videos and they're like... No. I can't. It's taking so long. I am now using the cleaver. It is just working so much faster to then just... I'd rather just do this and shave it down until it gets to about halfway than spend another 2 hours or so probably trying to cut through this thing, which is so blunt. Like, so blunt. So, cleaver it is. Might mess it up, but I got it from IKEA for like, I don't know how much it was, like 6 quid a while ago. So, okay, this is what we got so far. We've basically cut in half. We're starting to just trim off the bits of the top. This side is going to be the handle, and here is going to be the spoon. But we have still got quite a while until I want to start doing the slow shavings and stuff, because it's a big piece of wood, so that's going to take a lot of time. But I shall keep you updated and see how we get on. Oh, okay, we are getting somewhere. The shape, you can see I've kind of trimmed off the top a little bit. Nice. But we still have a while to go before this thing is edible. Not edible, you know what I mean. What I'm gonna do now is draw the design on my spoon, so while I'm chipping away, I can just follow the rough outline, I think. That's probably a good shout. Kind of like the butter, you wanna make it to your own requirements, like what you're gonna need out of your tools and the things you make. So when I cook, I always use wooden spoons. So probably gonna do a big wooden spoon on one end, long, thin handle, and then at the other end, I'm just gonna put a really miniature baby spoon, because often if I'm cooking like spag bowl, I'll just be mixing with the big one, turn it over, I'll use the stem of the wooden spoon to just mix the pasta and the water, and then just constantly swap between. If I can put a little spoon on the end there, rather than putting a big wooden spoon in your mouth to taste test, you can just use the baby one. Boom. That's how we get on with this bad boy. We are pretty much there, I think, to start carving. But I don't really want to carve any more off, because slow and steady wins the race. I don't want to accidentally just keep whacking away and it ended up cutting half my handle off. I think to start off with, we're going to be using this tool, and we are going to just be slowly scraping away. Look at this. We're starting to get a slight indent here. I'm not gonna lie, this thing isn't too great either. So I think I found an okay method of scraping it out. Holding it a bit like that, and then just like gouging like that. Again, tip, it is easier to just hold it between your legs and use your thumb and just like making some progress. Even got a little bit notch here for our baby spoon. I think now that I'm getting the hang of it, it's actually not that bad. Find your rhythm and you just go. I think the best thing for the spoon as well, rather than going like all the way out and up, it just keeps catching in here in the middle as it starts going up. So I think if you just keep doing this, but just working your way around the sides towards the middle, you'll get a much nicer, more even spoon. This is our progress so far of our spoon. Still need to do some trimming around the sides there, but I've done a little bit of shaping at the end of the little spoon. But truth be told, Rome was not built in a day, and neither will the spoon, so we are back the next day. I did put the same outfit on, just but I told you anyway, so here we are. Let's get carving. I think for these, I want to like curve it more like that. So I think using this curve tool will actually be better to like scoop it out and create that angle, because the knife just seems to be coming down and catching and taking off too much. But also what I did, I thought, oh, I'll just warm up before I start recording. Didn't put the safety gloves on and cut myself. So safety is important. And it's also nicer like having that cushion on your finger when pushing the knife, so you can get a bit sore on your thumb. Look at that. We're getting there. Much better. Nice and thin. He's a bit wonky over here, but we'll thin him out. He'll be good. And then I need to take quite a bit off the back here, just to give it a nice slender feel. I think we just need to maybe scoop a little bit more out here, cut quite a bit off the back, and then give it like a light little sanding, maybe just fix with a couple like gouges, just smoothen those out. But tedious work. This has taken a lot more effort than expected, but honestly, now that it's coming together, I think it's gonna be freaking sick. Oh, spoon! Go on, you guys have to make a spoon as well, and then send me a picture of your butter, your spoons, put it in the comments. I want to see. It is probably best to do all this stuff outside near a campfire or something, because look at the mess. That's just from the little bit of shaping we did today. I'll show you guys what yesterday's looked like. I think we are pretty much there. Look at that. It's come out so nice. I'm definitely going to be using this in the kitchen. Little spoon. Big spoon. But we need to give it a sand, and then I'm probably going to need to let it dry for about a week, because it was recently, so it's still got liquid inside. So I need to place a nice dry spot for the week, but we're gonna give it a sand, and then I'll probably do a little bit of branding on there as well. You gotta hit the roots. I'm not too sure what grit this is. I've lost the back of it, but if you want to use a fine, like super fine, we're looking 240 grit and upwards. You want to get all the little fibers that stand, like when it's wet, they all stick up. So you want to do that, give it a wash, let all the fibers stick up, then give it another light sanding just to get rid of all those. Otherwise your spoon will constantly feel a bit soggy when you're using it. So let's give it a sand. Make sure you get all in the middle there, because that bit was quite rough from scraping it out. The blade wasn't sharp enough, so it was gouging rather than slicing. So there's a couple steps, but we can hopefully get rid of most of those just with some sandpaper. I'll get rid of this now, but I'm gonna add, ooh, owie. But these things happen, and if you're wild, like lucky that was small, I just need to go to hospital. But if you're out there and there's no hospital, you got to be super careful with these things. Boom. Look at that. Oh, still got dust on it. Nice. If I saw this in a shop, I would buy this. And if there are no shops, you could make this and trade with it. Oh, nice. That's actually sick. Like my own wooden spoon made exactly how I would use it or need it. With a little spoon on the end. Patented. Not patented, but. Oh, okay. So I need to do some branding on the back. It's gotta have roots somewhere here, I'm thinking. But how can we do that? I might try with a little bit of wire and some fire. Right, look at this. Roots, baby. Alright guys, the final touches of our branding. Alright, we are done. This is our end result. Back to the roots. Look at that. Nice. That came out really well, actually. In order to get our spoon ready, we are going to need to let it probably dry out, just sit for a week or so in a dry, preferably warmish spot, because it's still holding quite a lot of moisture and you don't want your spoon absorbing that and mixing with tree juices, because they might not be too good for you. So we're gonna let that dry, and then in terms of like oiling and varnishing, you obviously want something more food safe, but it says don't use sunflower, vegetable or olive, because that won't stick and be absorbed. It'll just always be slimy. So you want to use more of like a rapeseed oil or something like that. I'll give you guys an update in the next video once this is properly complete, but he's done, he's good. So, I hope you guys have learned something over this video of how to carve a spoon. I'm not gonna lie, this was a hard one. Took a lot longer than expected as well, but definitely worth the effort that it took. So, I've been Jeff, and this has been Back to Our Roots. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao, bye.